in what can only be described as the most unexpected political upheaval in cartoon history. The sleepy town of Elmore has fallen under the iron paw of its newest dictator, Gumball Watterson. What began as a seemingly innocent teenage rebellion has morphed into a full-scale authoritarian regime that has left political analysts and cartoon theorists scrambling to understand the implications. The seeds of revolution were planted when Nicole and Richard Watterson made the fateful decision to terminate internet access in their household, a decision that would alter the fabric of Elmore forever. For most teenagers, this might result in typical angst or perhaps a strongly worded journal entry. For Gumball Watterson, it ignited something far more sinister: ambition. Experts analyzing the situation suggest that the sudden withdrawal of digital connectivity created a power vacuum in Gumball's psyche. Having been raised in an era where online presence equals social currency, the abrupt severing of his digital lifeline triggered a compensatory mechanism. If he couldn't rule in the virtual realm, he would dominate in the physical one. Elmore Junior High became ground zero for what would later be termed the Blue Cat Uprising. Leveraging his unusual charisma and the general teenage propensity for rebellion, Gumball transformed standard school dissatisfaction into organized resistance. What made this particular revolution so effective was Gumball's uncanny ability to unite disparate social groups, from the jocks to the nerds, from sentient bacteria to anthropomorphic clouds. The school cafeteria, once a battleground for lunch table hierarchy, became the headquarters for strategic planning. Witnesses report that Gumball's rhetoric evolved rapidly, shifting from complaints about homework to impassioned speeches about systemic oppression by the adult establishment and the need for a new world order where recess is eternal and vegetables are outlawed. The transition from school rebel to town dictator displayed tactical genius that few could have predicted from a chronically underachieving student. Gumball's takeover of Elmore followed a three-phase strategy: infrastructure control. Roadblocks established at key intersections effectively paralyzed adult commuter patterns. Parents couldn't reach workplaces, teachers couldn't reach schools, and most critically, delivery trucks couldn't reach the donut shop, creating a citywide sugar crash that weakened resistance. Information domination. The establishment of the Ministry of Memes represented the first time in political history that governance and internet culture fully merged. Darwin Watterson, appointed as Minister of Propaganda, instituted a communication system where all news was delivered exclusively through image macros and TikTok-style videos. Traditional journalism couldn't compete with the dopamine hit of scrolling through government bulletins featuring dancing officials and auto-tuned policy announcements. Surveillance state. Perhaps most chilling was the deployment of Anais Watterson's intelligence network. Utilizing her genius-level intellect, Elmore's youngest spy master created surveillance technology from classroom supplies and playground equipment. Jungle gyms became listening posts, hopscotch patterns contained hidden cameras, and ice cream trucks served as mobile command centers. The abrupt departure of Elmore's elected mayor left a power vacuum that Gumball filled with theatrical flair. The town hall was transformed into the Watterson Palace, complete with a throne fashioned from stacked school desks and a crown crafted from a repurposed dodgeball. Governmental roles were reassigned based on playground alliances. Tobias Wilson, Minister of Treasury, controlling the flow of allowance money and lunch credits. Banana Joe, Head of Entertainment, ensuring all comedy met the regime's standards for legit funny content. Tina Rex, Chief of Enforcement, her intimidating presence ensuring compliance from potential dissenters. Bobert, Technology Czar, his computerized brain monitoring all electronic communications. The most disturbing aspect of Gumball's regime was the psychological transformation of Elmore's citizens. What began as amused participation in what many adults considered an elaborate game evolved into genuine fear. Psychological studies of totalitarian regimes often cite the importance of uncertainty in controlling populations. Gumball's rule exemplified this principle. The randomness of his governance created an atmosphere where citizens never knew if they were following the rules, as those rules changed hourly based on Gumball's mood swings. One day, wearing blue was mandatory to honor the leader. The next, it was forbidden for stealing the Supreme Cat's aesthetic thunder. The toy army patrols, while objectively harmless, being primarily action figures mounted on remote-controlled cars, created a surreal surveillance state. Citizens reported feeling watched by plastic eyes, leading to self-censorship and paranoia. The true brilliance of the regime was that it maintained the veneer of childish play while executing very real social control. The Meme Tribunals, justice reimagined. Perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of Gumball's governance was the replacement of the justice system with meme tribunals. Citizens accused of infractions face judgment not by jury or judge, but by the number of likes their defense received when posted to the town's social platform. Penalties were similarly determined by crowd reaction, with the most severe being permaban, exile from all social interactions, and mandatory wearing of a cringe label. Political scientists have noted that this system, while seemingly absurd, effectively combined ancient forms of public shaming with modern social media dynamics. It represented the first governance model entirely built around viral content principles, where justice depended not on law, but on one's ability to craft a compelling narrative. The inevitable collapse, power's paradox, the final image of Gumball alone on his throne of empty desks in a darkened classroom, serves as a powerful metaphor for power's isolation. What began as a quest for social validation ended in profound loneliness, the ultimate price of prioritizing control over connection. Elmore has since returned to its normal state of cartoon abnormality, but subtle changes remain. Parents report children negotiating more strategically for privileges. School elections have become surprisingly sophisticated, and occasionally, citizens glance nervously at stuffed animals, half expecting them to report thought crimes. Some theorists suggest that the entire episode was merely an elaborate fantasy sequence, the kind that frequently occurs in Gumball's imagination. Others posit that it represents a meta-commentary on authority structures in children's media. Whatever the interpretation, one thing remains clear. In Elmore, the line between absurdist comedy and political thriller has been permanently blurred. As for Gumball himself, sources close to the former dictator report he's returned to his normal routine of causing manageable chaos rather than systematic upheaval. When asked for comment, he simply shrugged and said his brief foray into totalitarianism was still less boring than having no Wi-Fi. The citizens of Elmore sleep somewhat easier these days, but many keep emergency supplies of memes ready, just in case.